Hey guys, going to show you a few things I picked up at a pawn shop this week. I been thinking about making a video for a while. This is going to be my first attempt at doing so. I don't know how this will go or if we'll do any more, but just something I wanted to share, something I enjoy doing. I like watching some other YouTubers. Musty One, for example, comes to mind. He's a guy that does a lot of repairing things. I'm sure most of you guys know who he is. And I love seeing him take things that people have thrown away and bring them back to life. And I'm going to kind of take him for an example. He likes to do yard selling, and he buys a lot of good things at yard sales. He gets a lot of good deals. I like to hit pawn shops. So here's a couple of things that I picked up at one of my favorite stores in the past week here. This is a very large Mac wrench. It's a 1 1/4. Got some surface rust on it. It's going to need a little tidying up. It's a CL40 is the part number on it. And of course American made. It's an older, a little bit older Mac. It's got the newer logo, but it is a little bit older tool. Picked that up. I got an Armstrong 24 millimeter. It's ratcheting box end on one side and standard box end on the other. American made. I'm not sure if it has a specialty purpose or not, but I looked these up, and I'll share that with you in a few minutes after I tell you what I paid for them. Picked up this pair of channel locks. I believe it's around a 12-inch pair. They are American made and they're Wild. Not super familiar with the brand, but I have heard of them before. And I have some channel lock style pliers that are larger than this and some that are smaller than this, but I didn't have anything in this size, so that's the reason I picked this pair up. Let's see, we've got a KD 17 millimeter, and it's an American made wrench as well. It's just a standard open end on one side, box on the other. I've gotten a Honda four-wheeler recently, and I was putting together a little tool kit for it, and 17 millimeters a bolt size you run into a lot on that. Another one you run into a lot is 13 mil, and here is a gear wrench. It's open end on one side and it's flex ratcheting end on the other. It does work. Needs a little ballastol in there maybe to free it up somewhat, but it works, so pick that up. This is a half-inch. It's a Cornwell. Let's see if we can focus. There we go. It's an American-made Cornwell. It's line wrench style on one side and open end on the other. I'm not sure if the hole there is factory or not. I haven't actually looked this wrench up yet to see if it's some sort of a special purpose wrench or just a line wrench with a standard half-inch on the other side. Picked up and I don't know if you'll be able to make this out because it's kind of hard to see here, but this is a snap-on swivel socket. There we are. You can see it just a little bit there. There's the SN. It needs a little work. I haven't done anything to any of these tools yet. It's 3/8 drive. I'm not sure what size it is. I thought I saw an 18 up here somewhere, but I don't believe that this is 18 millimeter. I think this is smaller than 18, but I could be wrong on that one. But that one needs a little work. We may try to restore this one in a little bit, see what we can come up with, polishing that up with some Scotch-Brite maybe, and freeing up that joint, getting a little ballastol in there, and see if we can't make that do what it's supposed to do. Picked up a needle file set. This is Central Ford, so it's Harbor Freight. That's okay. This is not something I would use all the time, but I didn't have any really small files. I have a few small machine style files. I live in an area that was a big cotton mill community here in the South, and you can find things like that, yard sales and pawn shops and things a lot. So I have some of those, but to have these different shaped files, I really didn't have anything like that. So grab that set. Next, I was looking in a toolbox there at the pawn shop I was in, and found these snap-on 3/4 inch drive, a 3/4 inch size, half-inch drive impact sockets. I found 2 of them. So I grabbed those. Here's the other one. See, that's also a 3/8 snap-on. And, or sorry, 3/4 snap-on and 1/2-inch drive. So I grabbed those. I found this 11-inch extension. Let's see here if we can focus. It's also a snap-on. Come on. But it's a snap-on FX11, so 11-inch extension. I have found several of these that I've actually had to send either to Snap-on or catch my local Snap-on man when he's in the area and have them warranted because the ball detent is missing completely. So it's not very much good as an extension, but this one is there and it's in pretty good shape. It seems to be functioning, so I've got that. And that one looks like it can probably just maybe be wire wheeled and put right into service. Let's see, I got a couple of ratchets that I picked up. You can look at this one. You can see it's got a little wear, but it's in pretty good shape. It's really not rounded off much at all up there. It's got a little chrome peeling, but that's nothing that's going to really affect how the tool functions. But it is a Mac. If we can get it to focus here. It's an older Mac. Some of the ones where it still says Sabina, Ohio on it. And it is a model V6R, and they didn't have anything that compared to that on their catalog when I looked at it. Everything is a newer pear-shaped style ratchet, so this one is pretty old. I don't know a date on it exactly, but it's in pretty good shape. I mean, it's been used, but not used up by any means for the age of it. So grab that. Everything seems to work. It's a, you know, low tooth count. So, but, you know, it's a good old ratchet. The other thing I grabbed, as far as ratchets go, was this. And, of course, these have not been cleaned yet. These are just the way I found them. This is a gear wrench 84 tooth in a 1/2-inch drive. And I got a pile of ratchets, but I've never had a gear wrench. So when I saw this one, I know the shop that I was in, I usually get a pretty good deal. So I figured throw it in the pile and we'll see what we can get them for. And maybe I'll take it home. So obviously I did, and I'll share the price with you in just a moment. The last tool item I picked up at that shop was this gear wrench 3/8 drive, a universal joint for an impact. And as you can see, it's got some wear from being rolled around in a toolbox, but it's brand new. Still has factory packaging on it. Never been used, never been off the factory packaging. So that one was brand new, so I found it, put it in my pile, and as I was checking it, or went to the register, I found these Allen butt stock shell holders. I found 2 of them, so I grabbed those and put those in the pile as well. My father-in-law is a big outdoorsman, so I thought maybe those might be useful down the road, and I figured I could probably get them for a pretty good price, so I grabbed those. And then one thing I started doing a few years ago, I've really been buying tools from pawn shops about 4 years now. And about 2 years ago, I figured out that if you have, you know, a lot of them will have toolboxes or bags or whatever just laying around where they've taken them in pawn. They've either let people dig through the bags and pick out what they're interested in, or they throw the tools in a bin of some type and they throw the bags in a corner. So I found out a couple years ago that if you get a bag and put the items you want to buy in it, carry it up there and hand it to them, say these are the tools that I want to buy. A lot of times they'll give you the bag. They'll include the bag in the price they give you, which is not, you know, usually a pretty decent price. So I started looking for decent bags, things that I would actually use, or toolboxes, because a lot of times you'll get that thrown in. So in this case, that's exactly what I did. I found this. They had some standard tool type satchels. This one I think is a more of a tackle box style. You'd have plastic containers in these pockets for different lures and things like that, and then you'd have your big open area for larger items. But everything was here. The plastic bins are not, but all the loops are here. All the zippers work, had the shoulder strap. So I thought this would be a pretty good one to grab. So I grabbed it, put my tools in it, carried them all up there to the register, and for the bag and these tools here, I gave $40 even, which I thought was pretty good. It's not the greatest deal I've ever gotten, but it's not bad. This Mac wrench I looked up on the Mac site, and you can buy this wrench today, and it's $73, I believe. The Armstrong, I didn't have a good source for Armstrong other than a couple of industrial tool suppliers online, and the Armstrong was like 171 bucks. I don't know if that's a specialty wrench or maybe it's just they command a high price on those specialty websites, but you know, those two items alone made this whole thing a super deal. The Allens are usually about $5. The needle file set at Harbor Freight, I think, is somewhere in the $4 or $5 neighborhood. You know what Snap-on stuff goes for. So I felt like it was okay. It wasn't the best deal I've ever gotten there, but it was a pretty decent one. And this shop, if you bring up larger items, a lot of times he'll charge more than smaller. If this had been a standard set of channel locks, these had been smaller wrenches, and these had been 3/8 ratchets, I probably could have got this whole deal for like 25 bucks.